Hey friends, welcome. I'm George, and if you're here, it's more than likely that you were put on a low sodium diet. And chances are you may have been a little heavy-handed with that salt shaker, or bypassed it. Did you spend a little too much time dining here? Or maybe you're just learning to enjoy the natural flavors of quality food while trying to correct a lifetime of too much salt intake. What you enjoy could be because you grew up with a specific style of cooking. We do get used to the salt levels in our food. According to harvard.edu, there's no recommended daily allowance of salt intake and no maximum recommended. But the CDC has determined that in America, we just consume too much salt. And it leads to heart disease and high blood pressure. But how much salt you should consume is based on who you are and your lifestyle. Everybody's different. People who sweat a lot may need more salt than people who don't. Women who are pregnant generally consume more salt. But if you crave a lot of salt, it could be a sign of an ailment and you should see a doctor. Today I'm going to review some alternatives, and they fall into 4 categories. No sodium salt substitutes. These have 0 sodium. Low salt substitutes, and I will go over the sodium levels. And no salt seasonings, as well as low salt seasonings. There were so many salt alternatives on the market. The ones I bought had to meet a few criteria. The main ingredient of all of the no salt substitutes on the market is potassium chloride, but many of the brands have other additives like anti-caking agents, preservatives. So I opted to buy just straight 100% potassium chloride. Now, when you're choosing low salt substitutes, they're intended to replace table salt, but still contain some sodium chloride. So I wanted to pick the ones on the market with the least amount of sodium in them, just to see how they taste. A quarter teaspoon or 1.5 grams of salt contains about 590 milligrams of salt. Many of the reduced sodium salts available contain at least 50% sodium chloride, and that may be what you're looking for. You may just need to cut your salt consumption in half. But I also suspect that they will probably taste good as well because, well, they still have a lot of salt in them. The low sodium salt substitutes I chose today contain a lot less than that per serving size. When choosing no sodium salt seasonings, well, basically the choices are unlimited. You can make your own, but there are ones on the market specifically crafted to ease your taste buds away from salt, or at least make them just as happy. So I picked up the most popular ones with the best reviews that did not have any unnecessary additives like preservatives or anti-caking agents. And finally, while shopping at Costco, I remembered McCormick's Chicken Montreal seasoning. No additives in it, and it only had 65 grams of sodium, so I figured since it's low in sodium, why not treat it as a low sodium salt substitute spice blend. So basically I'm going to taste these on plain cucumbers. I want to start with the potassium chloride, but before you try it, you need to consult your doctor. Unlike salt, potassium does have a recommended daily limit, and if you take too much of it, it could build up in your body and cause your kidneys to shut down. Could be fatal, especially for people with kidney ailments or people who already have too much potassium in their body. A teaspoon of potassium chloride will get the average person to a third or half of their daily limit. This bag is a kilo or 2.2 pounds, costs around 57 cents per ounce or 28 grams on Amazon. Let's give it a taste. And I was curious to see how it would taste if I were to put it on lightly. And then if I feel like it needs a little bit more, I'll add a little bit more. So this is a light amount. In other words, if I was putting salt on this, I would probably put just a little bit more on this cucumber. Let's see how a light amount tastes. So in the beginning, even with a light amount, you feel like you put a little salt on it, and then it kind of follows with a really bitter taste that I'm not too happy with. Let me give it a try again. With a little bit more. I'm not enjoying that. In cooked food, it could be different, but we really shouldn't get into cooked food here because that's a whole nother animal. What is it going to do inside of the food? Is the molecular structure going to change? Are there other flavors in the food that are going to mask it? I really can't do that in this video, but plain on cucumber, it leaves a bitter aftertaste in my mouth. I would almost rather eat this without anything on it than to consume potassium chloride. Now, this is the only salt-free substitute I'm going to review because all of the other substitutes contain 90 to 99% potassium chloride, and the other ingredients in those substitutes, for the most part, are just additives that are not going to enhance the taste. I did my best to find more, so if I missed a brand that is salt-free with no additives and some other natural ingredients that could make it taste better, leave a comment so I can do a follow-up video. The next ones are in the category sodium reduced salt substitutes. Z salt with a Z contains only 150 milligrams for the same serving size as salt, 1.5 grams, or what should be a quarter teaspoon. It is made from sea greens extract or Capophagus alvarezi. For the most part, it's potassium chloride, and it is expensive. It costs $2.19 on Amazon per ounce or 28 grams. Let's give this one a try. Same thing's gonna go here. We're just gonna put a little bit first, see how it tastes, then go a little bit more. For me, the Z salt actually tastes pretty good. I think the salt masks a little bit of that potassium. I would be happier to consume that than the straight potassium chloride. So the potassium chloride, I'm gonna give this, assuming your favorite salt, which happens to be, mine happens to be Redmond's or Celtic sea salt, I would give this a 4 out of 10. And I would give the Z salt probably an 8 out of 10. Now, the next salt here is Armstrong salt. It also is a low sodium substitute that comes from the Dead Sea, which contains roughly 80% potassium. It costs about 38 cents per ounce on Amazon. And the sodium level on this is just a little bit higher at 190 milligrams per quarter teaspoon. Heavier. So I find this one quite interesting. It really tastes no different than regular salt. It tastes like salt. I would give this one like a 9.5 out of 10. You can still taste a tiny little bit of the bitterness of the potassium, but it really goes away almost instantly. Definitely the more affordable out of these three. I kind of like it. Now we're going to move into something that's almost like a cross between a seasoning and a salt substitute. The reason why I say that is because this is organic kelp granules from Maine. It's ground up farmed sea kelp. Here on the back it says 115 milligrams of sodium per 3 grams. So it's actually half of that, which is about roughly 60 grams of sodium. So it's light in sodium. It is quite expensive. It's around $4.40 an ounce. I'm just going to go light and go heavier. I'm really not tasting anything at all. I'm not tasting any kelp. I mean, maybe I'm getting a good supply of iodine, but that's a lot of money to spend on something that really tastes like nothing. It's not really very good. I would give that one maybe a 3. Kind of disappointed because I was excited that it was an organic kelp product out of Maine. All right, green salt is another one. It's not shown here. It's made from farm-raised Salicornia. Salicornia is a food that grows on the coast of Asia, Europe, and North America. It's on the higher end of the sodium spectrum, contains 270 milligrams per quarter teaspoon, 28 grams, but so many of you suggested it as an alternative to salt in the comments below my salt video that I had to give it a try. It's farmed in the United States, and according to Green Salt's website, labs have identified vitamin B3, vitamin C, magnesium, calcium, iodine, potassium, chlorophyll, and other nutrients in Salicornia. Now, several studies have identified antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, anti-diabetic, and anti-cancer activities in Salicornia. In lab testing on rats, Salicornia results showed that while common salt induced high blood pressure, the Salicornia salt did not. It is kind of pricey, it's about $3 per ounce, but unfortunately because of shipping issues, the green salt is still delayed somewhere in transit. I will review the green salt when I get it. At the end of this video, I'm going to link that video when it's released, and there will also be a link in the descriptions below once I make the video. So sorry for the delay, but please check back. The next 3 are in the category of salt-free seasonings used to replace salt. I remember seeing this one. This is Mrs. Dash on television commercials 40 years ago. It's been on the market that long and has great reviews on Amazon, so I figured I would add it to the list. Again, no additives in any of these. Mrs. Dash has quite a few flavors though. I chose the table blend, which comes in at around $1.07 per ounce, 28 grams. Let's see how this one tastes. Well, the table blend, when you go heavy, seems to have a little bit of a kick to it. I'm tasting some pepper. It's a nice flavor. It's definitely enjoyable. Will it fool me into believing that I am not having any salt? Yeah, a little bit. If I had to go on a low sodium diet, would I buy this on a scale of 1 to 10? I would say yes, and I would probably give this like a 9. It's pretty tasty. Another really popular one is Spike seasoning. It is, again, a little pricey. It's $2.70 per ounce. Try light. I'm tasting some Middle Eastern spices in here. Not as inviting as the Mrs. Dash. I think Mrs. Dash has a little bit more of a pop. I guess if I had like, I was doing like a Middle Eastern dish, like maybe a little bit of falafel, or maybe with some hummus or vegetables that had hummus and I wanted to season them a little bit, I would probably invest in this too. I'd maybe give this a 7.5 or so. Here's another one that I found that really came highly reviewed on Amazon. I found Benson's to be very interesting. It's the only one whose main ingredient is nutritional yeast. It is also quite expensive at $4.33 per ounce, but nutritional yeast is expensive to begin with. So by looking at the ingredients, it's basically nutritional yeast with some added spices. The one thing that I questioned here was it added rice hulls to prevent anti-caking. And after doing a little research, I found out that rice hulls are basically a form of silicone dioxide, the anti-caking agent that's pretty much found in many other salt substitutes. Is silicone dioxide bad for you? Did some research according to the FDA. No. It is found naturally in some vegetables like beets, but there is more research being done to find out if it should be more regulated for consumption. So let's give this a taste. Wow, that's awesome. That tastes like there's sodium in it. That's amazing. There's 0 sodium in this. This would be really spectacular on popcorn. Out of these 3, if I had to buy any of them, my first choice would definitely be the Bensons. Got some really great characteristics to it. Really made the cucumber pop. Almost tasted like there was actually a little bit of lemon put on there. See if one of the ingredients here is, yeah, they add lemon, citric acid, celery. It's delicious. I am very impressed with Benson's. 10 out of 10. Finally, my last one, and only low salt seasoning that you can use as a substitute, according to me, not designed to be a salt substitute, but why not, is McCormick's Montreal chicken seasoning. It costs just 33 cents per ounce on Amazon. I actually purchased this stuff a few years ago and did not use it in the video because it had some sketchy ingredients in it, and it looks like those ingredients have been removed. Thank you. I think it's pretty tasty. Very, very good. I'm impressed. No sodium salt substitutes like potassium chloride. Not a big fan. Out of the ones that have low salt that are designed to be a salt substitute, I really like the Armstrong. Out of the no sodium seasonings, hands down, the Bensons, absolutely delicious. I can imagine this being great on all sorts of different types of food, but what comes to mind right away is something like popcorn. It did taste spectacular on the cucumbers. The McCormick's Montreal chicken seasoning, nowhere on here does it say anything about being low sodium, but it is. And I enjoyed it. So maybe there are other low sodium seasonings out there that you too would enjoy. I prefer to have organic seasonings. Other than the kelp seasoning, nothing here actually is organic. So go out there and find one that you like, that just check the sodium levels and see if they're really, really low, like this one. I could recommend it. And I want to thank McCormick again for making the right choice and eliminating unnecessary additives. And MSG, it says no MSG on here. I didn't know if there was any before. It is gluten-free from their products. Here's my tip of the day. When using salt, salt is kind of like the gorilla in the room. When it's present in a dish, it dominates the flavor of the dish. If you taste the dish with no added salt, it tastes very different. Sometimes it tastes, well, tasteless, and that's mostly because we grow used to the taste of salt in food. Now, if you slowly reduce the amount of salt you add to a dish, you will pick up on some amazing subtle flavors that are usually silenced by the presence of salt. Over time, you can train yourself to get used to less salt in your food. But what I love to use is Redmond salt and Celtic sea salt. Neither brand sponsors my videos. I like them because they do have roughly 100 milligrams less sodium per identical serving to salt. They are free from microplastics, and the other trace minerals present really make the flavor of a dish pop. More info here. Keep an eye out for the follow-up on Salicornia green salt. Cheers.